at the time when I went on holiday.
Yeah, but I get your like that you are like fearing this, but I managed it fine while I was skiing. Uh,
That's the
so
fear, isn't it? I just want to, sorry guys, I just want to say hello and welcome to Darko because he's just joined us.
Nice
Hi.
to meet you, Darko.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Coming.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, really good.
yeah,
Okay.
Hello,
Yeah.
Darko.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Emily, for sorting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
and
welcome.
I'm really, yeah, it's really lovely, and I'm glad you haven't got any power like blackouts at the moment because I hear it's been quite bad.
It can happen any moment. Yesterday, 5 times we lost electricity. Usually 1 minute, 2 minutes, but
Yeah.
one was 2 hours. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's a jungle, So little wind blows and some wires touch and pew.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you very much. And we're all here because I think we're all at various different stages of doing the protocol. And I'm very, very new to it. I'm only on day 3, and I think a few people you might already know anyway, and some people have been doing it for a few months now. And I think, we've just all got various different questions and really keen for any input and any more, anything. So really, I mean, I
Okay.
guess we could.
Well, I'm here, so shoot.
Cool.
Just overall, as the introduction from my side, when you start with the protocol, you have to understand that the body is extremely toxic because for whole your life, you actually never detoxified correctly. The only detox was flu occasionally when you get it, and then you suppress it as quickly as possible because you were told to do so. And the longer we are accumulating toxins, the more toxic we become. So once when you start raising blood plasma, which is the reason why, one of the reasons why we are so toxic, low levels of blood plasma, then your body immediately starts going through detox system. And detox is controlled. It's not like washing dishes. It runs on programs, which basically 2 of them direct the issue. Is the body going to detoxify the blood, or is it going to hold and accumulate more liquid? The programs will decide if the blood is toxic, and if the toxicity is more problematic than the level of blood plasma. So you may be drinking plasma and actually going into constipation because raising blood plasma will start decoupling toxins from the tissue. So blood becomes more toxic, but at the same time, the computers is running the programs and saying, okay, the toxicity is up, but really is not as problematic as this very low level of plasma. So it wants to take more plasma out of colon, which actually puts you in dehydration. And it's very often that people start drinking plasma and all of a sudden they go into constipation and having hard stool, not understanding, well, I'm drinking the plasma and I'm in a worse situation than before. Yeah, well, because things are happening that your program is suffering through, and it's responding to what I call the autopilot of healing that we all have. Nothing can heal the body except body itself. And to do that has to have a lot of plasma and has to be stopped poisoned so it can actually start doing its job. So because it is controlled process, it doesn't happen all in one shot. It happens gradually and with different intensities, which they were very often misinterpret as a problem occurring when actually it is problem being resolved. You don't care. It hurts. You feel nauseous. You have fever. You don't care what's happening. You just want to feel well. Well, if you go suppressing it, you don't get ahead. You have to actually nourish this help your body to get these toxins out. And once when you understand it, you understand that it can happen at any moment, that you have sudden toxic release, which could be also caused by change in the climate, change of the frequency, which happens to many people. You are stressed at your job, and then finally come 2 weeks vacation. You hop on a plane, you get to the beautiful island, and you get there, and all of a sudden you get hit with flu. Okay, so because your body, everything shifted, big change of frequency of the ambient, and the body responds with first tightening the cells, releasing some toxins, blood becomes toxic, and you have all the symptoms of flu, which is symptoms of toxic blood, which is pain, headache, muscle pain, joint pain, blurred vision, foggy thinking, foggy brain, and then increased temperature, and then the process of symptoms of detox are then sweating and nausea or diarrhea. Combine these two, you have a flu. And it may hit you anytime you detoxify in various intensities. The more toxic you are, harder you will get hit. And also depends on how much plasma you have and how toxic and what type of toxin you have. For example, vegans, they pride themselves. Oh, my plants are making me so resilient to diseases. I haven't had flu for 10 years. Well, your cells, your blood is so toxic that cells basically close the membranes not to accept this toxicity. So they start dehydrating on cellular level. They are becoming more and more toxic on cellular level. But when shift in ambient happens, we always go with a crunch. You know, you cringe before you can even think what happened. And so do our cells. They cringe. And if the membranes are closed, not much dirt can come out. So you don't pollute the blood. You don't have any symptoms of toxic blood and no symptoms of detox. You are being locked. And this is a state that Dr. Bruce Lipton calls fight and flight situation of cells. We do this, we instigate this whenever we are poisoning the body with antibiotics or with medicinal remedies. You just lock the cells because they don't want this stuff in, and then nothing can come out. And since cells do not release toxins into blood slowly cleanses and things go well. So we think, antibiotics have killed bacteria. In most cases, they don't even kill the bacteria. You still have bacteria in the blood, but symptoms are gone. Because cells do not release toxins, blood slowly cleanses, you feel better, and we never know how toxic we are because there is no such a symptom that tells us, okay, your body is toxic, your cells are toxic, your tissue is toxic. When toxins are in the cells and in the tissue, they don't present problems. Problem starts when they go into the blood. This is why blood always has to be maintained clean. And if it's not, then it will detoxify, eliminating these toxins through kidneys or mucosal tissue or skin. And for this needs plasma. If you don't have plasma, it cannot do it. So the toxins from the blood go in the tissue. So this is basically roughly the culprit of basically almost all our so-called diseases, health issues. So I don't know now if you have any questions personal about your process going through this, because I can probably shed some more light on individual situations.
I've got a few questions via Sophie, who's on holiday right now
Okay.
with her family. She says, obviously, hello, Darko, it's John here from the UK. Sophie says, how important is the mental part of the protocol? And she says, I mean, if you can you have a cinnamon bun and then can you basically thought erase it by thinking it's good for you? Okay. And then if you stress about following the protocol, can that prolong the time it takes to heal on the protocol? And what is his best advice to best balance these issues?
Well, no doubt, mind is the most powerful because your existence in so-called reality depends on it. Everything that you experience, including yourself, is manifestation run through the brain and through your sensory organ of your robot or avatar, whatever you want to call yourself. And with a thought, you create. So if you can convince your ego that your thought becomes your reality, then eating bun will have absolutely no effect on you. But if you cannot convince ego and it continues running on the programs that are embedded in it, then you cannot convince the ego and things will happen according to the programming. It's all programming. Frequencies, everything is frequency. And whatever we experience in our reality basically has its base in a quantum field. Now, if you ask physicists about quantum field, they start with bullshit about a radical movement of particles in a quantum field, unpredictable motions. This is all nonsense. All the string theories, all these theories are pure nonsense. Now, I'm not a physicist, okay? But understanding the creation just basically shows me that the quantum field is a field of pure energy. And this is, where does the energy come from? It's from consciousness. So everything is consciousness. And this way, everything what you experience and everything that you see has consciousness. And problem is that ego is programmed. And according to this program, this robot has to eat, has to urinate and defecate. Okay? Plants have a similar program, but in that program, they don't have to urinate and defecate. They don't cleanse. So it's just a difference of a program. And this means that also there is a difference in vibration, because as a computer is put together through processor, that certain sequence of zeros and ones becomes color or number or letter or sound. So the computer actually produces everything that you see on it. It only receives sequences of zeros and ones. Now, our brain is a little bit more sophisticated. So what happens, it doesn't run on zeros and ones, but runs on frequencies which are expressed in a sacred geometry, in which each line that forms sacred geometry is particular frequency, has particular length, which presents the frequency. Now, as these waves of energy comes to the brain, they are processed according to the program. So certain geometric structure of quantum field is going to be presented as an apple or as an animal or as human. Okay, so it's all about sacred geometry. If you want to know more about it, I applaud you to check the work of Drumala Melchizedek and his sacred geometry books. He explains everything. He is fabulous in this field. I call him my mentor, although I never saw him except during ayahuasca in my ceremony in my mind. But his teaching about sacred geometry is phenomenal. And you realize that there in this quantum field, there is nothing except consciousness that creates energy in motion. And then through sound, it's manipulated into behaving waves of energy and so forth. So once when you understand this, then you will understand that plants vibrate completely differently than animals. We are closer to cockroach than to tree in our genetics. Okay, it's a completely different vibration. This is why plants have their own food that vibrates like this. And we have different food that vibrates differently. They have vitamins. Now we are trying through our science, we are being told, oh no, so vitamins from fruits, they are exactly like our vitamins, you need vitamins. It's baloney. They are completely different. They resonate similar, but they are different. And what they actually do, the cells will absorb the vibration and then does not know what to do with it because it's similar. We say it blocks receptors. And you don't go any further. We are being told, oh yeah, carrots, you want vitamin A. Okay, well, carrot doesn't have it. It has a beta carotene, which is a plant version of this vitamin, and your body is going to use it as a provitamin and turn it into vitamin. It doesn't happen. This is why you get yellow once when you eat too much carrots, because it just blocks your cells. But again, scientists are being suppressed. Only science is allowed, which is manipulated through Kabbalah. And scientists think that they know science and they know science, which is completely inverted stuff. Every book, every medical book is run through Rockefeller Foundation. So it doesn't matter if you study in United States, in Europe, in Africa, in Zanzibar, no matter where you study medicine, you are using the same concocted scientific lies. And doctors know nothing about the body. They know everything wrong. They are very good in manipulating symptoms, and that's all they can do. But manipulating symptoms will not heal you. This is good if you have accident, or if you are in bad pain because of your deteriorating body, so they can stop it. Usually it's inflammation, so stop inflammation. But healing body, they have no clue because they don't understand it. So thinking that you can, with your mind, manipulate, well, yes, you can, but first you have to be in that zone. You know, so you have to understand how to manipulate the body. Yogis can do this, but it takes them lifetime before they can achieve this, of doing nothing but meditating on it and learning more and more. And they learn directly from the soul part of, or the conscious part of the universe. And it's a gradual process, little by little. I was learning like this through ayahuasca. But again, we all have different purpose and different different things we have to go through, because our experiences are just giving more knowledge to the quantum consciousness that is creating things. So we can create new game, better, more sophisticated, and avoid problems that we have created in previous game because we did not understand exactly what we have been creating. It is different to talk and watch movies on a TV and or computer, play games, a war game, and okay, you get killed, fine. But if you go and take all the senses on, you put the virtual mask, and then you put on you some patches that will transfer the signals into your body, creating the pain. Actually, you're not going to want to play the game where they shoot at you because it's going to hurt like a hell. And can you imagine now what happens in our reality when we are immersed in this game? You know, so everything looks different when we are creating in a quantum field as a spirits, and it changes when we decide to participate as entering the robots and actually see what we have created. And this is basically what we are doing. This is why our path is drawn in front of us, that we follow, and certain experiences we have to have because this is why we came, and certain experiences then we actually create or we mellow because we start understanding and we say, okay, I'm not going to do this because I know what's going to happen. Now I have experience. So this is our life. And when it comes to health, it is very simple because nobody should be sick. Animals in nature, they are not sick. You will not find one animal in nature that has a chronic problem. Why? Because they eat food of God. They don't play with it. They don't change frequency of the food before they eat it. And they drink water, nothing else. We think that everything has to be a different experience. So every meal should be different. We need variety of foods. Who said so? You can live on steak every day, on eggs every day. You can live on this and water. But we think, no, you need a little bit veggies, you need a little bit of that, you need vitamin from this. You cannot use any of these things. But we follow science that is misleading us because right away now we are wakening up. So we know now what Kabbalah is and what do they do. What is for them, what is for us God, for them is devil. What is for us light, for them is darkness. So they invert everything. So if they control science, everything you will learn is inverted. Why do you think we are forced to go to school? You think that they want us to be smart? Exactly the contrary. They put us in a school to indoctrinate us with lies, embed those lies in our brains, so then when we see things and we see that they are not working that way, we are still trusting more the lie that we have been told than what we are seeing. So, nobody can convince me that Earth is flat because I have my experience as a sailor that Earth is round. And I have lost so many friends that I thought that they are smart because they could not convince me that planet Earth is flat. So they don't want to talk to me. Okay, so we are getting so stupid. The education is making us so stupid that now the modern generation does not even know what woman is. Okay, and they actually think that the gender is, you can choose one. They actually are trained, brainwashed into thinking so. So you know how fragile is this, our consciousness, our consciousness of our body, our ego. Ego is very fragile. It will believe anything if you can convince it, and it's convinced to lies much easier than convincing it to the truth. So convenient lies work beautifully, and we always find excuses. I was told I should not do it, but you see, he does it, and they feel good, so I'm going to do it because, you find excuse. You look for excuse, you will always find it. It is very difficult to control ego.
Darko, would you mind if we took a couple of questions out of the chat here? So a couple of people have got some questions. So Mark says, why is drinking salt with water better than eating salt? Is it okay to just eat the salt and drink plain water too?
Okay, well, we have been also told not to drink when we eat. And what happened is that salinity of the blood is tightly controlled. Blood has about 9 grams of salt per liter of blood, right? Why is that so? Because water does not conduce electricity, and what we call energy is electricity. So our body has to be electroconductive. This is why it's salty. And if you put salt in food. Now you eat it, the salt in the blood jumps quickly. And now you have surplus of minerals because you are low on water. And if the water doesn't come within minutes, the body cannot tolerate it. It is programmed to eliminate surplus. So you start eliminating the salt, it goes into urine. And then later on, you drink something, usually you drink the wrong thing. You drink beer, you drink wine, you drink juice, which needs more elimination. It doesn't hydrate, and it doesn't have enough minerals. So you basically, you cannot really raise the level of blood plasma. This is what confuses also scientists, because you can eat salt and you are not increasing blood plasma. You are actually decreasing it and decreasing. And then you drink water separately. Well, you ate food with a lot of salt, salt rose up, water did not come, body eliminated and loses some water, eliminating the excess of salt. And now you become thirsty. So you drink water. Well, the salt is already gone. And now you have surplus of water that dilutes the salinity of the blood. So body goes again calibrating to perfect electroconductivity and getting water out and losing more salt. And you keep dehydrating. Little by little, you keep dehydrating. Now, why this does not happen with animals? Because we know that herbivores, they need to have salt supplementation, which again, should anyone that can think would know right away that plants do not have minerals in them or are low on minerals, because every herbivore has to supplement salt. Elephant knows where to go to get salt. Goats know where to go to get salt. And farm animals have to be provided with salt. Every farmer, if they have goats, sheep, cows, they have to give them salt, which means they don't get it through food, which means plants are low on minerals. Animals are not, because animals eat animals. Animal cannot survive if it's not properly mineralized. So when you eat meat, you are receiving salt. But because you didn't start eating meat as a child, you have toxic problem. And when you start eating meat, and this happened to a lot of people, when they start eating meat, they hear carnivore diet, okay, they go, they start, or they feel really great, but little by little, they start having problems. Why? Because they are mineralizing very slowly. So salt level is increasing, and when they drink water, occasionally it will grab to it, and you will start increasing the plasma level, but very, very slowly. So it is like a river that in drought season, and all the garbage is on a shore, and now start rising because it's raining somewhere, and dirt from the shore keeps going into the river, making dirty. This happens with our blood. And now your body, when it has a dirty blood, it says first, let's cleanse. But I need more plasma, so let's soak more water out of intestines, more plasma out of intestines, making you constipated. So people that start eating meat, they start suffering from constipation, because they have been also told by Ayurvedists and other people, that they follow. These are like big names of carnivore diet. Don't eat salt. It's not necessary when you have animal, because carnivores don't eat salt. Yeah, but carnivores have never been toxic because they always have been cleansing. We come with a toxic body, and to cleanse you need more plasma than otherwise. So you gotta increase it, otherwise you start suffering now from toxic blood, which gets worse and worse, and you start burping and having digestive problems, all because you are not cleansing. You're not providing enough plasma. So you can have salty food. You can put a lot of salt, sea salt on your food, but drink water while you are eating. Now, what is happening is, again, what are you going to put salt on? People use salads. Well, salad is going to be neutralizing your stomach acid. And now you start popping more water, so you start diluting the acid. You cannot digest properly the meat. So no matter how you do it, it is not really good way to do it. It's a problematic to achieve hydration, separately eating salt and separately drinking water. It's much better, just put it together, and doesn't matter what level you put, because body is going to make the equilibration and replace the surplus. And actually, this is the trick of the protocol. If you go to shaman, because you have some health issue, shaman will always give you first very strong detox. So it will either poison you with frog poison in the skin, or give you some toxic herbs to drink, some tea of toxic herbs, and you start spilling your guts. You start vomiting. You start having diarrhea. Mucus is oozing out of your eyes, your nose, your mouth for 8 hours or so. You think you're going to die, and then this detoxifies you, because body has to remove the toxic stuff that you ate, and at the same time it starts removing everything else that should not be in the blood, and you feel better afterwards. So instead of poisoning the body, because your cell will lack when poison comes, they will close their membranes, and when poison is opening membranes, the toxins start coming in, and after a month or so, the blood is as toxic as it was before your cleanse, because it didn't go on a cellular level. So instead of poisoning the body, in the protocol, we are using the surplus. So you give more minerals that body needs. This is not toxic to the bodies that cells would cringe. They are fine with minerals. Only programming goes and says, okay, I have to eliminate the surplus because I have to balance the perfect electroconductivity I can get. And this will create elimination of the surplus of salt. This is why more salt you put in a water, the stronger detox process you are going to go through. And this is why elderly people, when they start, they should start with very small percentage of salt and increasing it slower, because fast detox may choke the system. This is why chronically ill people, especially elderly, often die during flu season. This is exactly what happens. Detox becomes too fast and chokes the system. So when you think of using salt separately than water, you are going to run into problems. It is not going to work nearly as good as drinking the plasma already mixed.
So sometimes it's just hard. It's hard to drink the salty water. It's difficult, and I find it easier just to eat a little bit and then drink some water right afterwards.
You can do it that way also if you want, but you have to drink as much, and you have to bring the salinity as much to achieve diarrhea when you are in cleansing process. Because having diarrhea, this lets you know that you drank enough water, that your body does not have to hold it, and you put enough salt to trigger the detox. So if you don't achieve diarrhea, then you either didn't drink enough water or you didn't eat enough salt. It's easy, manageable if it's mixed.
After we get diarrhea, then we can cut back on the salt, like in the afternoon, maybe, if we had diarrhea in the morning.
Well, it all depends. When you use salt as a diuretic, because you have a problem with water retention, because your tissue is very toxic, then I advise you have very strong plasma in the morning, first thing, and then don't drink anything afterwards. You will be very thirsty, but you don't drink anything until you have your diarrhea. So this way, body has to eliminate the surplus salt and do the cleansing. And since you are not drinking, it is going to be forced to take the liquid from the tissue. So it will be getting slowly rid of this water retention. And then later on, after the diarrhea, when you eliminated some water, then you drink plasma, but with less salt. So you are not speeding up the detox process. You are just leveling the hydration. So you are not dehydrating. You are keeping the hydration going very slowly, but sucking the liquid, toxic liquid out of your body. If you are not having problem with water retention, which means your tissue is not that toxic, not creating these problems, I recommend always to have at least 10 grams or 9 grams of salt per liter of water, at least the salinity of the blood. So it will have only minimal surplus because you already through meat, you get your salt necessary. But this is just going to be enough to keep you going and cleansing. You want to continue cleansing the blood because the tissue will be releasing toxins. Your blood is going to becoming more toxic. You don't want to hold the toxins in the blood. You want to empower your body to get it out. And for this, the only thing body requires to have plenty of plasma, not worrying if it can do it or not do it. And diarrhea shows you that you provided enough. So you can hydrate and eliminate through diarrhea without any problem of so-called dehydration.
Thank you, Darko.
Darko, I've had that experience where I've been detoxing with the diuretic flush, and in the morning sometimes I don't flush at all. So what will happen is I'll down the 1.5 liters of 20 grams per liter diuretic flush, and usually if I'm hydrated enough, within half an hour I will purge. But I've had a couple of situations where it's gone 2 hours and I've not flushed at all. So I've known then that my body hasn't got enough plasma to waste it to flush. So in that situation, am I better? How long will it eventually pull the fluid out and flush? Or in that situation, when I realized it that particular day, I downed it was the third bottle of 10-gram plasma at the point where I needed to go to the toilet, and it all came out, in a diuretic flush. But I've had situations where I've thought I was going to flush in the morning, and it hasn't happened, and I've had to go out, and I've gone out, and I've clearly not had enough plasma to flush, and I've managed to stay out to do what I needed to do for an hour or so, and then come home, and then or when I'm out and needed to go, but it's not been that 30 minutes. So the things that have caused that, one time I had a salt bath, a really strong sea salt strength salt bath. So I put like 5 or 6 kilos of sea salt. I managed to get 300 kilos of sea salt from a farmer nearby that didn't need it for making pickled eggs or something, I think it was. So I've got a load at 20p a kilo of sea salt. So I've started to use that to bathe in. And that particular morning, after that evening, I didn't flush at all. It was 2 hours until I looked at the clock and I said, I realized I wasn't flushing, because usually it's within 30 to 35 minutes, like clockwork. Oh, okay. So I can gauge, because I've been doing SHP pretty much daily for 9 months now, when I've got enough plasma and when I haven't. And another thing that causes it is I do MMS for right at the end. Just before I go to bed, I'll do 4 and maybe another, sometimes I'll do 8 drops, but 4 drops per hour in the last couple of hours before I go to sleep. So when my brain switches off and when my osmosis pump is running, I'll detox more. And those times in the mornings, I'll wake up and I'll be groggy, and it'll be those mornings where I don't flush straight away with 1.5 liters as well. So I've used up my plasma to detox overnight. Is that all correct? Am I understanding it?
Basically what happened is that sometimes also food. When we eat something and it was not the best food that we could have had, the body will need more plasma to deal with it. And you are not going to have diarrhea, because more plasma is necessary just to manipulate the toxicity that you have created in your blood. And you urinate more than defecate. And a similar thing happens if you are, let's say in a sea, or as you did in a bathtub with the seawater. You will absorb salty water through the skin, and it will take from the tissue, it will take the stuff, it will dilute toxicity, bring it into the blood, but it goes also first through lymphatic system. So it goes through a checking system before it goes in. And then very often, since already you are not that toxic anymore in a tissue as you were before, your kidneys are very capable of taking this out, and you have plenty of plasma, so it's not a problem for the body to eliminate a lot of urine, and you are going to urinate it out. So you will not need to use your mucosal tissue in elimination. So there are a variety of situations, because again, it's a controlled process. And, you know, I always compare this cleansing, because for the body to be healthy, cleansing is very important. And for a boat to float, it's very important not to have water in a boat. So boats have 3 systems of pumps: the primary, secondary, and the third pump for emergencies. Why is the primary? Because it is using very small amount of energy. So it can pump up a little bit of water whenever necessary. In our body, the primary system of cleaning blood are our kidneys. But unfortunately, they waste a lot of water. You eliminate a little bit of toxicity with a huge amount of plasma, not water, it's plasma. You never eliminate water. You always eliminate the water with minerals. And the problem is, if the toxicity increases, which means automatically, well, kidney could not cope with it. Why? Most time, reason is not enough plasma. So then mucosal tissue kicks in. It uses way more energy for this. Same like on a boat, the secondary pump uses way more energy because it pumps much stronger. It's a bigger pump, so it shoots a couple of gallons in one shot in let's say 50-foot sailboat. And this is what mucosal tissue does. Mucosal tissue does a way stronger and faster detox of the blood than kidneys do. And doctors are so preoccupied when kidney doesn't work correctly. Oh, you're gonna die. You have to go through dialysis and we have to clean the blood. This is nonsense. You don't need a dialysis, because what happens, your blood is going to be more toxic, so you are going to run diarrhea. But you have to be hydrated. Doctors tell you, your kidneys don't work. No salt, no salt, no salt. And less they work, more problems you have. Don't even drink water. I know I have a few of these clients. So doctors are actually killing people, not understanding how this stuff works. And without salt, without plasma, you are doomed. And most people, as when we get older, we have what we call thick blood. So now doctor says, well, you are diseased, you are diseased, you have polycythemia, your body is making too many blood cells. Well, it's ridiculous. It's like telling, well, I have here evaporated milk that came from that cow. That cow is toxic because I have evaporated milk that comes from it. Well, it didn't come from it. You dehydrated it, right? Well, if you have a cubic inch or cubic centimeter of space and you fill in blood, the less plasma it will have, the more cells will be there replacing the plasma, because that's what fits centimeter or into space. Now saying that you are diseased because it has less plasma in it, no, you're just dehydrated. But again, doctors don't understand body also. What are they creating these names of diseases which don't exist? I understand these do not exist. You are just dealing with symptoms of toxicity. And nobody is patient. Nobody is diseased. This is why I don't have patients. I have clients. I have people that I'm educator. I educate. And my knowledge comes directly from the source. So, and I do experimentation not to make sure not to kill anybody, because everything that comes to me is contrary to what I was told. So I have to try it for myself. And I get sick and then I detoxify, then I get sick again, I detoxify just to make sure that things are exactly the way how I am perceiving them. Nobody can tell me otherwise because I have my experience. Okay, so, and I'm not afraid of salt. This is why I'm now 22 years, I'm drinking huge amount of salt every day. I don't drink water. This is my regular glass, a little bit more than half liter. This has tons of salt in it. I use a minimum 10 grams of salt per liter all the time.
Darko, your skin is very smooth, isn't it?
Well, not that smooth because I'm experimenting. So I'm dehydrating myself. My cacao destroyed me. So now I'm cleansing from the cacao. I'm hydrating my cells. My skin is going to improve now gradually because the cacao ruined me. Just to prove all these airheads repeating nonsense about cacao, especially, oh, cacao, yeah, the best cacao comes from Peru. I have it. This is superfood. It's all nonsense, pure nonsense.
Do you mind if we get on to Anne-Marie's question, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Anne-Marie, so do ruminating animals convert plant frequency so that they can utilize the nutrients, so that we can utilize the nutrients via the animal? And does cooking, freezing our food change its frequency?
Well, I don't know if I understood the question correctly, but
can you see the chat? Yeah.
Yeah, animals are programmed to produce cellular energy from fat. And this is very obvious because they store fat. Why would you store fat in your body if you don't need it? How come you don't store carbohydrates? You don't have any potatoes, any carrots in your stomach or in your tissue. Because you are not programmed to produce energy or to use it in any substantial way that you would need it. Plants do it. And this is why plants accumulate starches, animals accumulate fat.
I think Anne-Marie's question, Darko, I think Anne-Marie's question came from something you said earlier about plants being at a particular frequency and our food needing to be at a different frequency. And obviously the ruminant animal is going to have to convert the plants from plant frequency to animal frequency for it then to become our food. So does that take place when it's in the gut flora and it's being
right?
digested?
Animals do it. Animals do it through micro animals, through microbes. No, you have the only way we can get, well, before we go to there, the obvious thing is it's all in frequency. So animals, what they do in nature, they eat food the way they find it. So they don't cook it, they don't process it, they are programmed to eat certain types of food. Panda bear is only going to eat bamboo. Okay, so a lion is only going to eat meat of the animals that it catches over there. A bear is going to eat whatever meat is available in the area. And then if there is any fruit available, sweet, it will eat the fruit. If it's honey available, it will eat the honey. It's omnivorous, same like we do. Very, very close system. It all depends about digestive system. Our digestive system, our stomach is acidic. And we do not have fermentation sac as herbivores do. So in fermentation sac, the greenery, and it's never carbohydrate. This we have to understand. No animal eats carbohydrates, not even herbivores. They eat green vegetables, because if you give them carbohydrates, they produce too much methane, they die, they blow up and they die. You give cow bread, cow will die. You give a cow corn flour, it will die. Okay, it will blow up. So they cannot have this. It's a completely different mechanism of manipulating nutrients in animals and in plants. The reason is mitochondria, where the conversion is done, because mitochondria in a plants only produces energy from sugar from glucose. That's the only type of a sugar that can be used. And before glucose is going to be processed, has to be first hydrogenated, hydrolyzed. And it's done, so plant produces a special enzyme called glycosid hydrolase. And then that hydrolyzed glucose goes into mitochondria and produces energy. Now, in animals, mitochondria is prepared to do this process using fat. But since fat does not have oxygen, and oxygen is necessary to separate the carbon from hydrogen, which is the energetic part, then oxygen has to be injected into mitochondria. So this is why animal mitochondria has oxygen pump, plant mitochondria doesn't have it. Now the problem happens when we are forcing animal cell to absorb more sugar than necessary. It will then push it into mitochondria to turn it into energy. And since this mitochondria will also shoot in oxygen, you are going to have explosive reaction. You create a lot of energy in very short period of time. So glucoholics, which basically we are all glucoholics because we have been duped into eating carbohydrates. And when you feel hungry and you actually may have a problem with thinking, because that's how low on energy you are, it's enough to take a little piece of bread, piece of chocolate because of the sugar in it. And within a minute, you are too energized because fast production of energy. Now, why do animals have this possibility for this explosive energy to use it? Because animals are created to be active, and they have to run, and they are being attacked, so they have to run in front of the enemy, or they have to fight to feed themselves. So if the animal is in a situation that its life is in danger, it goes into stress, produces stress hormone, and this hormone then liberates glucose from glycogen, which is in our muscles, in the brain, and in the liver, nowhere else. And this gives instant big energy surge. So if you are in a life-threatening situation, at that moment, under influence of stress hormones, you are going to be 10 times stronger. But you will use the energy immediately. For thinking, brain uses huge amount of energy to find solution, how to defend yourself, what to do, run, fight with what, how to do it. And the muscles have to execute it. This is why they always have glycogen in them. And then if this takes a little longer, then liver is programmed to release sugar from glycogen into the blood. And as soon as blood sugar levels increase, the sensor is being pushed for release of insulin, so the cells will be forced to accept this sugar because cell is not prepared to take it without being forced to do so. Now, what we have done, we start feeding ourselves with a pure sugar, with glucose from starches. So we are taking in huge amount of sugar, raising the blood level of sugar without being in a stress situation. So we are triggering insulin, we are triggering our cells absorbing it. And since daily they are doing this stuff, they have to control the amount of energy is being produced, and they decouple mitochondria, and you have less running mitochondria, which means you cannot make energy on fat anymore, not adequate amount. It becomes decapacitated. And this is where majority of the diseases start occurring on mental level, like bipolarity, for example. But here also blood circulation is affected terribly. It has nothing to do with cholesterol. It's all about starch. Okay, so we just don't understand the body correctly. And the reason is because of indoctrination, not because we are not capable of understanding it. So anyway, so mixing the food. The best thing when you want to think about food, diseases do not exist in wild animals because they don't play with food. Now, what do we do with food? We heat it up. What does that mean? Well, doesn't matter what you take. Is it plant? Is it fruit? Is it meat? You know how it looks in its natural vibrating form. For example, meat, you know it's red because there is some blood still in there. It has its taste, it has its smell, it has its firmness. Same does apple or carrot. And then when you start heating them up, what do you notice? Well, change of smell. What does that mean? Well, one frequency shifted. So now through your senses of smell, you feel the change of a smell, which means you have a raised frequency of what you are cooking. Then color changes. Another frequency change shift that through light, through eyes, you see it as a change of color. Then taste changes. Another frequency shift that you through sensor of taste, you are now experiencing it as a different taste. You have taken the perfectly tuned piano and you took some strings and you cranked them up a little bit. So what kind of music do you think you're going to hear? It's going to be shit music. And you put this in your body and it starts affecting vibration of your cells. The lower voltage you have, the more unstable is the frequency. And if you provide wrong frequency through food that you ate that come very close to those cells, it will be pushing on them. And as soon as you shift the frequency of your cells, then your robot is going to show it to you as a problem of how your body resonates, how it functions. Either pain or some deformity or whatever this frequency change is going to be producing according to the programming it has.
Why does it smell so nice then, cooked meat? Why is it so enticing, the smell?
Because we got used to it. People that eat raw meat, they don't like cooked meat.
Oh, right.
And I don't like heavy cooked meat anymore also because it's a mealy and it's bitter. And when it's raw, it's sweet and juicy, and it's completely different ball game.
Hello, Darko.
Yes.
Hello, Darko.
Yeah. How are you,
Hello,
Brian?
Darko.
Yes, Brian, listening.
Yeah. Darko, I've seen you many times on cam before, in your videos many times. I just want to say you're looking good.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure and to greet you and to say you were talking about allopathic doctors trying to put the fear of God into people for drinking salt or taking any salt intake at all. I wanted to say you were mentioning the kidney disease, how they try to put the fear of God in you that salt will induce kidney disease. I want to say that I was diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease in my left kidney. I just want to reassure everybody that salt is not harmful, because drinking salt water, obviously a good quality sea salt, I cleansed my body and I healed my left kidney. I had excruciating pain. The pain is now gone. I can sleep through the night comfortably. I don't get pain during the day. I just want to reassure everybody that, you know, what you're saying is right, and it's not going to be harmful to drink salt with water.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, because people have to hear this.
Brian. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I've got a friend who's had a kidney transplant, and hopefully I'll be able to get the recording of this and share this with her. I've also got a question for Darko. Going along the salt thing there, you were talking about 3 stages before, with the where the water comes in or goes out. Now, I've been also in the distilled waters group, which is predominantly based around urine therapy. So there's a few people within that group that say no to salt. Now, I've obviously uncovered your teachings, and I now do salt, but I also use distilled water but add salt to it now. But I've also practiced urine therapy in the past. Now, I believe urine isn't necessarily a waste product, it's an excess channel, and by doing SHP, what's happening is the urine, which is basically a plasma the bladder is my understanding is urine is a plasma that is stored in the body for extra use. So it's like an excess channel. So it has minerals in it. So I no longer use urine to drink, not because I think it's toxic, but because it's now too salty to drink. Yeah. So I much prefer now to drink plasma to hydrate my body. But people in that group have experienced profound healings doing urine therapy, and it's reconsuming a form of plasma, yeah, in a sense. But I've sadly, a number of people within that group also have gone along the realms of getting rid of meat, yeah. So we're in quite a few groups have got certain bits of knowledge that are correct, and other bits that are profoundly wrong. And I believe the urine therapy group is one of those groups, because I see people poisoning themselves with plants, and they get very, very sick looking, but their belief system is incorrect. Now, in addition to that, we've got a number of doctors that are carnivore space that are aware of how good meat is, but aren't aware of how good salt is, because they've got this situation where their experience with meat counters their experience of what they've been taught. So they're able to actually break the programming of the meat's bad, and but they haven't broken that program because they haven't experienced salt. So we have a situation where we've got some doctors like yourself broken programming on both. I think they're very rare. So they've got salt and carnivore and raw food as a kind of like the ultimate. And we've got some doctors that are really good on carnivore space and eating meat over vegetables, and they're still having profound healing effects with people. However, they're not as effective, I think, because they've got this misinformation with regards salt, and we have this constant situation where the carnivore doctors are misinformed on salt. How do we broach that subject with them so that they start to listen? I know a few people that are almost there, but they've fallen back, and they're consuming low salt. I think Emily knows a couple of people. There's There's Phil and Ben, who run a different group, and quite a few people are in here from that group. But they're still poisoning themselves with things like coffee and nicotine and avoiding salt. It's a weird space we find ourselves in globally with getting the correct information out. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just kind of like trying to broach that subject, because if we can break through and get some of these naturopathic doctors that have some good information, aware of how good sea salt is rather than toxic mineral salt, yeah, I don't know what the answer is, Darko, but I think like imagining that we can create this connection between the different groups will, I think, get your message out and help a lot more people. That's kind of like my aim. Anyway, I was just a bit more of a ramble, but I don't know whether you've got any. It wasn't specifically a question. It was just more of a kind of trying to get a better understanding of what's going on.
With regards to Phil and Ben, I think they're happy for us to be the guinea pigs. So it's up to us lot to do the protocol and get good results, and then you spread the word, don't you, with the people that aren't so into the salt, hopefully.
Well, this is why I'm always trying to make myself available as much as possible to guide. And really, it's not the money issue, because I will guide anybody that wants to be guided, regardless if they can contribute or not. Because again, we are learning now to live on natural law, and you know, you always get rewarded by the essence. Money comes, or things come from different directions that you would expect. It is very important to understand the process. This is why I'm not only saying what we should do, but I'm explaining through my articles and my videos how things work in the body, so we can actually understand it, because your ego has to understand what is happening. Otherwise, it will always be in doubt. Only when it understands it, it can kind of go through it. And the best understanding it is it goes through the process. So before you even talk to anybody about what you are doing, you should do it yourself, and people should see the difference on you and ask questions. Well, this is when you talk, because otherwise, to try to tell vegan that they are doing things wrong, forget it. It's impossible. And even, you know, here I am in Darko, which is like a medical plant healing. A lot of people come from all parts of this planet to do plant healing, ayahuasca, and also diets, 7-day diet or 10-day diet with plant in the nature, in seclusion. And everybody thinks this is the optimal thing. But I have here one gentleman that came. I don't even know if he's British or from the United States. We never went talking about it. But he's a foreigner, as I am, who moved here because he had a skin cancer that was always appearing like a black alligator skin. And the only way to take it out was by freezing it and then peeling it off, and then it will appear on different part, and it was covering more and more of his body. And he did many ayahuascas, and he did all kinds of these plant healing programs. Nothing was helping. So he heard about me. He came to visit me. We talked, and he didn't even want to listen to my explanations. He said, well, I think I'm in the wrong place. I said, okay, I'm going to shut up. And here is my wife. She will explain to you what you have to do every day. And just do it. You have nothing to lose. So just eat according to protocol and drink the plasma. Here is your salt. Here is colloidal silver. Do as protocol says. And just keep me informed. And after 3 weeks, first time he asked some questions through internet. And then after a month, his wife came to get more salt. And after 2 months, she said, oh, he's doing good. This is good. And after 4 months, his skin is fine. And then when I came to see him, he lives here on one lake. Then I see that his skin is still having problems, but not that kind. It just doesn't look right. So I said, okay, so you are not following the protocol anymore. And he said, look, I got rid of the cancer, and this here doesn't bother me at all. But I have to live. I have to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So it's our habits that we become slave of our habits, and they don't allow us to do anything else. You feel a little better, you feel bad, you feel in pain, you say, I'll do anything. As soon as you feel better, you forget what you said. It's okay, I can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it is very difficult to convince people, a vegan, to convince them that at least to have some meat. No way. And they're all sick. They're lying when they say they're not sick. They're all sick and they look it. And then it comes through conversation. I hear, yeah, well, I was feeling bad, so I was eating fish for 2 months, and then I start feeling good, and then I stopped eating fish. I went back to my healthy diet. I mean, how big moron you have to be just to say something so stupid like this? Okay, but there is no cure to stupid. This is a problem. There is no cure to stupid. And, how you can convince somebody to do one thing or to do different thing, it's impossible. It's impossible. So now there is so much information out there. This is good and that is good and this is bad and that is bad. And people pick and choose and make their own kind of protocols and mechanisms. And yeah, if you change one bad thing, you will see improvement, but you are never going to go into proper healing unless you allow the body to heal itself. And this involves a variety of things, changing diet, hydrating, and very often changing this stupid mind, because the fear draws energy, and low energy drops the voltage and makes you more susceptible to shifting of your vibration, getting diseases. If you can raise voltage, cellular voltage, nothing can touch you. This is why Nikola Tesla said, health is voltage. He's completely true. Only it's very difficult to raise cellular voltage. You can do it if you are smiling, if you have absolutely zero fear. But who is like this on this planet? Everybody fears something. It's very difficult to control fear. And this doesn't let you to have the optimal voltage on cellular level. And this means that your frequency is not as indestructible as you would like it to be.
So we have a few questions in the chat, Darko.
Okay.
Thank you for giving us your time again. Thank you. So John wonders about castor oil packs. Is castor oil going to be a problem on the SHP? Is it toxic?
Yeah, castor oil is toxic, and that's why it helps in detox process. It's like taking toxic remedy to increase level of toxicity to force the body to detoxify. This is the process. So yeah, you can incorporate it and have stronger symptoms of detox, but is it necessary? Not at all. You don't need it. But if you have a local problem that you want to resolve, because on a protocol, you are allowing your body to regulate the healing process. But if you have a particular issue, let's say pain in the shoulder, and this healing process is slow because you are healing everything and this is more fragile area, you can put warm castor oil pack and put it there and just force the detox of this area more rapidly. So yeah, you can combine those two, but as long as you are using any kind of a toxin, you will not detoxify on a cellular level because the cells will close. As soon as you put castor oil, some of it will be absorbed, and this is immediately impulse to the cells, toxin close down, and you stop hydrating and detoxing on a cellular level. So you're going to be dealing with this symptomatic part here that bothers you, but in general, you are actually going to be closed down and increasing toxicity on a cellular level.
Brilliant.
So
Thank you. That's a good answer. But can I ask you just one other thing, Darko? I've had one symptom while I've started detoxing, which has been unusual for me. I'm ridiculously fit for my age. I do mountain biking on a single speed mountain bike, and I climb hills like at super fast compared to most people of my age. And I've found that since I've started doing the protocol, it's almost like I've lost 30% of the capacity of my lungs. I've gone out and done a ride that I would usually just fly around. It's just a training ride that I do regular, and found that I had to actually stop and get my breath back on 3 of the climbs. Is that a normal sort of symptom that you've come across with other people?
Well, this only could mean that your lungs are kind of toxic, and they are going through detox process. So you are eliminating toxins, and if you cannot gain the breath, it could be either lungs, or you may have problems with the blood circulation still that is not resolved, and you are not oxygenating fast enough. But remember, when in a detox, your blood becomes more toxic because you are detoxifying the tissue or cells. These toxins do not just evaporate. They go into the blood to be eliminated, which makes your blood more toxic. And more toxic blood now is going to affect more of the tissue that is working more, which would be your muscles, but would be also your lungs, because you need to cool your body and you need to oxygenate it more when you are doing physical work. So you are going to breathe more blood goes into the lungs. Blood is toxic. It creates more problems there. So healing is a long-term process. It's not something like taking suppression pill. Something hurts you, take pill, it stops hurting. Okay, I'm healed. I'm fine to go. This is not the case. Also, you will notice that if you, for example, take a little bit of spirulina, you will increase on your performance. Why? Not because spirulina is going to make more energy in your body. It is because spirulina will stop cellular process of hydration and cleansing, which then leaves more energy available to do other things. Okay, so whenever you slightly poison your body, slightly, just to close down the cells, you are stopping the hydration, which is energy consuming. And this energy now can be used for other things like bicycling or watching TV or reading books, which normally when you go into detox process, as soon as your body finds a chance, it goes into detox, and you are sitting still or trying to watch some movie or whatever, and all of a sudden you start sleeping. You cannot watch movie. Why? Because the body is not interested in what you are watching there. It sees opportunity to detoxify and starts putting the osmotic pump together, starts sucking your energy to do so, and you feel sleepy and you go to sleep. Now, with biking, again, you are in a detox process. So you are always your blood is always going to be more toxic, and in a form of a detox, which is energy consuming, you will need more energy. So you will not have this energy for biking. If you want to race,
if you worry about, it'll sort itself out in the end.
Yeah, less toxic you are, the less of these problems you are going to have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Darko?
Yes.
Simona here. Hi.
Yes, Simona.
I have a question. I mean, I've been on a protocol, proper protocol since last June. And, I have this for months now, raised blood pressure, which means, it's been going on for a while. It's just that a matter of a slow kind of repair. I know that's connected to the arteries and, how damaged they are and so on. But you know, sometimes I do get worried because it is high blood pressure. It's just kind of high all the time, and I do feel it in my arteries and you know in my head. And is that just kind of normal that it keeps going for you know for months now to have this actually too high of a blood pressure according to the you know standard?
Well, blood pressure, increase of blood pressure can be caused by a variety of things. It usually starts in younger age with mental problems of preoccupation, because remember, brain uses a lot of energy. It needs then more food and needs more cooling, so it has to accelerate the blood circulation. The faster blood circulation, the higher blood pressure. And later on, through carbohydrate use and the toxicity and dehydration on cellular level, now you are creating blood vessels made out of dehydrated cells. So the tissue becomes more brittle and rigid. It doesn't flex anymore. And when heart pumps, the increased pressure usually is amortized because blood artery expands a little bit. When it cannot expand, the pressure increases. And until you can hydrate the cells and make your arteries flexible again, you are going to have increased pressure. Another reason, if you have some inflammation in your body that still is in process of healing. What is inflammation? Inflammation is when local tissue produces particular hormones, vasopressin, for example, to constrict blood vessels. Now, when it constricts artery, the pressure between the constriction and the heart increases. Okay, so the whole artery becomes pressurized, and then through a narrower opening, but with more pressure, blood shoots in this tissue or organ. But on the other side, the vein is also restricted. So the blood cannot go out in the same speed. It starts accumulating in this tissue and pressurizes it, and we call this inflammation, until the pressure is equal to the pressure of artery and start leaving the tissue out. This is forced hydration. This is what inflammation is about. More of these inflammatory processes you have, or if, let's say, your liver or kidney, which use a lot of blood, if they are kind of in a, or even brain, the meninges, if they are kind of still in acidic state and they need hydration, this forced hydration, the backup pressure will be increasing, and this is what you measure. You measure your backup pressure in your body. This is why you should always check blood pressure on the left and right hand to see the difference. And on a side where the blood pressure is higher, on this side of the body, you have more inflammatory processes. So variety of things can be interfering with why your blood pressure is high, but it is much better to have this high blood pressure than to artificially lower it down, because blood pressure does not create any health issues. Zero, none, zilch. But doctors use this to drug you. This is the one way how to sell you drugs. If you are measuring your blood pressure and doctor is talking to you, he wants you to have higher blood pressure, because if you respond or he scares you with what he is saying, your brain will immediately accelerate the heart, because heart is not only pump. Heart is actually the engine of the body that creates the energy. Like in the car, you know, stick shift, before you release the clutch, you have to accelerate the engine, otherwise it is going to die on you. Well, same thing with our body. Before you can open your mouth to say something, your heart accelerates. Before you move your neck, heart accelerates. And this acceleration of the heart creates higher pressure, and it will raise the pressure when it's measured. So when blood pressure is measured, Don't talk, don't think, just relax and have blood pressure measured, because every your action is going to raise it. And again, it doesn't create any problem. Don't be afraid of high blood pressure. Just look at the body of bodybuilders, their veins and arteries. I mean, they're like big nuts. There is tremendous pressure in there every time they do work. So this is not a problem. We should never worry about blood pressure. We should always check, why is blood pressure higher when we think that we are not increasing our heart speed and we are not using and needing any energy. So why is the blood pressure higher? And could be bad blood circulation, but very often it is also our mental state. So if it is not mental state, and if your body does not have inner inflammatory processes, then it is the wall of the blood vessels, which is dry, dehydrated. Why it's not hydrating? Well, maybe you are making mistakes in diet, because it is not quantity, it is quality. You can step with your foot on a garlic. In 10 minutes, you will have garlic in a breath, which means it will be in your brain, it will be everywhere in your body. It will be poisoning you because it's highly absorptive. And it's not the quantity, how much of it you ate. It was just a little drop, but it is going to stop hydration of all your cells. You can just go and smell alcohol. It will stop hydration of all your cells. This is why I tell people, if you're on a protocol for a while and now it's a party going on and you want to be sociable and enjoy some glass of wine, or I say you don't have to limit yourself in how much alcohol you will have, because it doesn't matter if you have one bottle of wine or half a glass of wine, it will do about the same damage in the body, closing your cells. But when your hydration is very strong, little bit of alcohol will be absorbed and create immediate drowsiness. So you will have one sip of wine and you will be stupidly drunk. To prevent this, when you come to the party, go to the strong alcohol, open the bottle and just smell a little bit. And this vapor is going to be strong enough to go in the blood and start shutting down all your cells. Wait 10 minutes and then have tiny sip of whatever alcohol you want to drink. And again, let it be like for 5 more minutes. Just make sure that all the cells are closed. And then you can drink with the best of them and not pass out after you start drinking a little bit of alcohol, because your cells shut down. Again, it's a quality, it's the vibration that came into your body that your body is programmed to shut down when the vibration comes, because now it's toxic to you. So when you are on diet and you want to have cellular hydration, you have to be very, very particular about what you eat. Definitely no spices. They're all toxic. Turmeric, ginger, garlic, almost all of them. I even noticed that my body does not hydrate well if I put lemon in the water. Okay, I noticed that. So the vitamin C from a plant shuts my cellular hydration. So
how
can you imagine? Or immediately.
How quickly does cells open up again after shutting them down with poison?
When the poison disappears from the blood. So it may take 6-8 hours.
Okay. So like after a day or two, you're definitely open again and ready to detoxify.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So you can have your days, when you go berserk. I usually put it all in one day. Like yesterday, I bought ice cream that I'm going to have today. And since ice cream has also a little bit of very fine chocolate in it, I also bought a chocolate bar. Okay. And I have a bottle of wine. So today I'm going to get poisoned. And then tomorrow I'm going to cleanse. and I'm going to say, oh shit, I feel so lousy, I'm never going to repeat this. Okay, it's going to last until next situation occurs that I can do the same exact stupid thing again. Because, you know, we enjoy certain things and we repeat them.
So,
But
so pretty much you're
plants.
saying there, even lemon shuts the cellular osmosis pump. So are pretty much all plants toxic then, Darko?
All plants. All plants. That's my experience. I notice it. If I drink, try it. Drink regular salty plasma, and you will see how you feel. And then take 1 glass of your plasma and put some lemon in it and drink it. And you will see that all of a sudden you are not going to urinate. You don't have diarrhea. Why? Because your blood is becoming more toxic. So more plasma now is needed to start eliminating. And at the same time, your cells are not hydrated.
I don't touch plants at all now. I literally, the only thing that I drink is what I believe is plasma. So I have 20 grams per liter to flush, and then 9 or 10 grams or 8 grams roughly to hydrate with. And I drink milk, which I know is a plasma, but it's heated milk, so it's pasteurized. Yeah, not ideal. And I also have milk kefir, but I because they haven't touched a plant, are they going to shut the cellular osmosis pump down or not?
No, they don't.
Okay. So what about a banana then? So if a lemon
banana is fruit. Banana is fruit. And
but isn't a lemon fruit?
Yeah, but it has acid. And we say, well, the acid alkalizes our body. How the heck will acid alkalize you? Explain this to me, okay? But these morons believe everything that they hear only because it suits them. It makes it, you know, they love it. So yeah, it's good. It's good. I take this as a solid information.
Okay.
Acid stays
Darko.
acid. Yeah.
Darko, it's been 8 months from we spoke the last time. There's me, yourself, and John. I am actually treating Parkinson's, hip replacement, and reactivating my lymphatic system, and with tremendous, amazing results. John Shore there, I'll tell you, I was actually bedridden, completely bedridden. And what I would actually say now is I wasn't far off total cellular shutdown, the position I was in. And the position I'm in now, my hip is completely cured. My hip, I don't need to get the hip replaced anymore. I'm having problems with activating the lymphatic system. But again, talking about the plant, I use medical cannabis for the pain relief. Now, at the time, it actually helps massively. The pain I go through, Darko, is off the scale at times, because with the Parkinson's, I'm rehydrating cells that have been isolated and shut down for a long time. And when they hold an electrical charge all at once, it's painful. So that's why I use the medical cannabis. Have you any suggestions about pain relief apart from the medical cannabis? And I've also used the castor oil as well, by the way.
Yeah, well, cannabis is probably the best thing to use. And if you know, when you can tolerate the pain, don't use it. So this is going to be when the body is going to hydrate on cellular level. But I know I have some clients with terrible pain, one in particular also terrible problems with arthritic pains. He was on strong painkillers for 20 years, including the epidural right in the spine. And now he doesn't need those anymore, and he doesn't need injectable, but he still has to take the pill type of painkillers because pain is down tremendously, but again, makes it impossible for him to move and sleep without painkiller. So little by little, things are going to clear out, and definitely cannabis is the best way to do it, because what it also does, it keeps fear away. You feel in a good mood when you take it. And this is another healthy process because energy stays in.
I also Sorry. I
Yeah.
also use bee venom. Now, this is not the time of the year to get bees, but when I use bee venom, I actually use honeybees to sting myself. And when I do, because of the Parkinson's, it helps with my dopamine levels. And as a pain relief, the bee venom is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I have here one gentleman also who does the bee therapy on people. So yeah, this definitely, it's again symptomatic. So this is used locally on areas to help the local area. But again, in general, it slows down the cellular hydration and cellular cleansing. But sometimes we don't have a choice, because it's very easy to prevent diseases because nothing hurts. So you do things right and you never get sick. The sicker you get, it means you are more toxic, and the more difficult it is then to fix the problem. Unfortunately, we did not know before what we have to do.
Yeah.
And now we know. So those people who are damaged already severely, they have much more difficult time to regain health. You know, this is how it is. This cannot be a help. Otherwise, until the new equipment becomes available that works directly on changing and correcting the frequency of the body, which is already on this planet, but implemented, from what I have heard, right now only on children that have been recovered from underground, and on military personnel that is still active and is hurt. So they need a quick fix so they can go back into battle. They have priority, but I hear that soon it will become available to general public.
Yeah.
Definitely not before this system comes down.
Yeah. I've been also using a tuning fork, a 128 vibrational tuning fork, because I'm trying to activate the lymph, and the lymph is a muscle or bone. It's like tubes, and it's amazing, absolutely amazing. I use two. I use a 512, and a 128. The 128 put on the pressure points on the body is the relief, and it's amazing. So there's no, I don't think there's any problems with that shutting down cells. You would suggest to do that, would you? Yeah.
Well, the best is movement, you know, being physically active. But again, more incapacitated you are and more in pain, you cannot be physically active. So what is very good is to have a good lymphatic drainage massage.
Yeah.
And not many people know how to do it correctly. So it has to be basically slowly is being squeezed and put all into a plexus lymph nodes, and then from there squeeze back and into vena cava. And this has to be repeated every few days to get this lympha going, because lympha stagnates. Less we move, slower blood circulation, the less chance has lympha to move around.
I do the
or vacuum. Yeah.
Darko, can I speak, Darko?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Brian. Yeah.
Yeah,
Darko,
Brian.
I have to go now, but I want to thank you for hearing your thoughts. It's been most enlightening as always. I want to thank you for your regular newsletters. Please keep doing them because they're invaluable. I read them all, although I don't always comment, but it's most enlightening. And thank you for your wonderful work, for inspiring people with your healing. You were saying a moment ago that people are overcomplicating health. They tell you to do this, to do that. It's mind-bogglingly overcomplicated. When I first read your protocol, I thought it can't be this simple. And of course, that is the secret. It is that simple. That is your secret. It is that simple. So I want to thank you very much. And I need to go now, but it's been most enlightening to hear your thoughts. And take care and see you again soon.
Thank you, brother. God bless you.
You're welcome. God bless you too, Darko. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, are there any more questions?
I have a question about sleep. My sleep is disturbed like 4 or 5 times a night. I wake up from a weird dream usually, and often I need to go pee, and then I go back to bed and I fall asleep again. Prior to this, I had like 12 years when I was waking up at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night and couldn't fall back to sleep. But now I managed to fall back to sleep. But is it normal to wake up like these 3, 4 times a night with weird dreams? And is it going to be better?
Yeah, it is going to be better. When we are in cleansing process, then we have to urinate at night, twice, 3 times, depending on how much plasma you drink and how much toxicity are you eliminating. But also remember that a lot of our problems, energetic problems, toxicity, does not come only from food. It comes from our response to our experiences, the emotion. Nobody can harm you by doing things to you, saying you things that you don't want to hear, or doing things that bother you. Nobody can actually affect your health by it, except you yourself, with the way how you react to them. By getting angry, vengeful, you are actually creating a negative energy, toxic energy. And very often, these things stay embedded in your field. Now, it doesn't even have to be in the brain. It could be in your aura, because consciousness of our reality is electroconductive. So it's like a tape recorder. Wherever you move, you leave imprint. Whatever you think, you leave imprint. And sometimes these imprints they interfere with the flow of energy. When you start purging, when you start cleansing, you will also cleanse them out, because salt is not only healthy because it's a mineral, but remember, in a quantum field, we call it sacred geometry, because they are geometric forms created by energy. But in our reality, the same geometric forms, we call them crystals. Okay, so salts are crystals. This is why you can manipulate water with your thoughts, because you are turning the particles to form geometric structures, which if you flash freeze the water, you look under the microscope, you see them as the crystals.
As a memory.
So, yeah, well, this is, when you take the salt is having the vibration of pure essence. You put it in your body, you are helping your body to purify itself. And it will act also on your thoughts. And for you to eliminate thought, you first have to become conscious of it. And it can be subconsciously also going through, and then you will get it out usually as a burping or releasing gas. And sometimes at night you can wake up because your brain starts forming pictures of what is happening. Dream state is almost the same with our reality. The only reason why you cannot make your dream into your reality is because your ego is on the way. It doesn't understand how can that become your reality, because you have been sleeping here. You have not been somewhere in Bahamas or on Caribbean Sea in a boat. So the ego will not manifest it. If you can convince your ego that what you have dreamt is reality, that you have just been there, that this is it, then you open your eyes and you will be there. It's all about convincing the ego. And to get rid of toxic emotions, well, you have to do it because they interfere with your health state. And little by little, you are releasing them even by acknowledging them through your sleep. So whenever some bad thought comes in a sleep, or you wake up with a bad dream, you just bless it and send it goodbye. Okay, I got it. And try to not think about it when you go to sleep. Because if you start thinking about it, you are going to manifest it again in your dream. You know, you can very easily, if you wake up and you are dreaming about something, you can go back to bed, close your eyes, and if you focus on what you have been going through in this dream, you start dreaming continuation of your dream. Because dreaming is your brain producing frequencies that are creating the picture of whatever was actual in your life. I remember when I was playing a lot of chess with my roommate, then I would go to sleep, and in my dreams I was playing chess. I was making the moves. And I was getting better and better at chess because of my dreams also. So it's part of your life. Dream is part of your life. If there are bad dreams, you have to overpower them with goodness. Start, if too often they occur, start repeating Ho'oponopono. This is the simplest way to do it. You know, in Ho'oponopono, just repeat, you know, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, I love you. And then put those thoughts, aim them to things that you think may be causing your problems. If you have any bad experience, if you have hatred towards someone, if your brother did you something wrong, or your friend did you something wrong, you just put these thoughts in that direction and keep repeating Ho'oponopono, and it will help you release these energies and, you know, turn you more in loving heart. Another thing is keep smile on your face, because as soon as you put smile on the face, you make geometry of your body connected to your heart. Try to curse or yell at somebody when you put smile on your face. It's impossible. You start laughing because it just changes the frequency of your body. So try to maintain the smile as much as possible. It is going to make profound difference in your life.
Thanks, Darko. I know that we've nearly taken up 2 hours of your time now, so I don't want to kind of have you carry on for too much longer. There was just one question in the chat that a couple of people wanted to ask about, and that was about potassium. And Marcus said, I've heard you say that potassium is generated from within the cell via cold fusion. Does this mean that we don't need to supplement with potassium?
Yes, we don't need to supplement. We are just creating problems because potassium is basically controlled by the body, how much will produce it. And it is produced in a cell and causes also thickening of the liquid in a cell to start osmotic process. And if you start giving it to the body in any other way, then you don't have to produce it. So another way how to slow down the hydration pump on a cellular level. Some fruits, you know, they say banana has a lot of potassium, which is not true. It has decent amount, but it not so much. But anyway, you can look at the soil where banana is growing, and there is no particular amount of potassium. So how come banana has a lot of potassium? Well, because it makes it. Potassium is made not only by animal cells, but also by plants. It is the essence of functioning of the body. We should never compensate it, supplement it, because body will be forced to eliminate the surplus. It will not use it. So you're just creating problems.
So could that be why MMS or chlorine dioxide is quite good, because it actually puts sodium into the body and oxygen.
Well, mostly because of the oxygenation.
But it's also putting part of the reaction is that it's sodium and chlorine. So
right.
you're getting sodium as well as oxygen. So even if you're low on salt, taking chlorine dioxide will add potassium, not potassium. Well, it will, because it will make it in the pump if it's
right. It's and sodium is necessary also for production of potassium.
Yes.
Okay, and also for production of what is it called? The mineral.
Calcium or magnesium?
Calcium. Magnesium, we absorb, calcium we produce. Okay, so calcium also, you need salt for calcium, because you need to produce potassium, which is converted into calcium.
Yeah.
So you know, any way you look at it, you need sodium, you need salt.
I was thinking this the other day, Darko, is like, well, I've thought it for a while since I've been doing the salt baths, is like, sea salt is the cheapest salt on the planet. It should be, yeah, because we have an abundance of seawater, and yet you can't buy it in bulk to bathe in the shops. That is pure madness. You should be able to just buy sea salt, just purely bathing sea salt, in the shops, and it should be like £1 a kilo or 50p a kilo or less than that. It should be the cheapest commodity on the planet because it's in pure abundance, and yet you can't get it. The only way you can get it is to go via shopping channels and buy it, and then it seems expensive, and most people aren't going to put 5 kilos in the bath because it costs like £5 a kilo or something. They're going to like put a little spoon in the bath, and it's like it's not going to work. Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, well, we have been fooled, you know, and it's very difficult to go because we are being misguided from the time we open our eyes by everybody, especially by schools. And we look highly as professors. Oh, they know, they're so smart. They are schmucks. They're just repeating the nonsense they are given there, and that's it. They don't even understand what they're talking about.
They're misinformed, brainwashed people that are unaware that they're that so, sadly, and their ego stopping them become aware of it. And calling them schmucks isn't the easiest, because it's gonna provoke a trigger from their ego, and they won't accept your material even more if you call them schmucks.
Well, I tried.
I know you're trying, but it's like
I tried nicely in many ways, and they just don't get it. So they are
worth the breath.
Something is missing here.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, I think the more of us at a root level do SHP like we are doing, the better it's going to be. Yeah, because it's eventually they will go, well, that guy's been doing it for 9 months now, and he looks, you know, I mean, Johnny, there's a photo that Johnny shared recently, and you look so much younger in your skin, Johnny, with how you're looking from doing SHP for 8 months. Yeah,
John, I actually suffer from dystonia for the part, and I can honestly say there's parts of my body that are moving properly that haven't moved like that from 2000. John, it is, look, in my opinion, it is the fountain of life, the fountain of youth, because the photograph of me 8 months ago, I look 70 years of age. I'm not saying I don't look 50, but the comparison is amazing, absolutely amazing. And just one the Darko, I would like to ask Darko a question. Darko, before I became sick there, I was roughly about 82 kilos. I've been right down to 60. I'm on a carnivore diet. I do SHP. Have you any suggestions how to put a bit of weight on?
You need to increase your fat consumption.
Okay.
Increase fat, but also remember, the body is designed only for certain level of surplus. Yeah. And then it will eliminate. So you may only accumulate, when you eat correctly, certain amount of fat. And if you want weight, well, you're gonna have to start exercising your muscles to start increasing your muscles and gain weight on that level instead of trying to accumulate more fat.
So will the protocol generally create weight loss for people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But also, sometimes, remember, we create through intent. So if you cannot do physical exercising because of pain, then just close your eyes and start to visualize yourself being masculine. Take pictures of, I don't know, any bodybuilder over there, and look at those pictures. And then close your eyes, imagine yourself like this. And you are going to be triggering increasing of your muscles simply through intent. And you will be gaining weight.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just interject, because I just want to correct something. You said something just now, John, that about how presenting the information not in the correct way can irritate people's egos.
Yeah.
But also earlier on, you mentioned Ben and Phil from the Big Fat Challenge. Now these guys are good friends of mine, and you were wrong what you said. They don't understand yet that absolutely any toxin will stop this detoxing happening, because they don't even know about this detoxing yet.
They're aware of it because I've mentioned it to both of them numerous times, and they can't accept it because they haven't practiced it.
That's not right. That's not right. I listened to Ben as well. Ben is going through a process at the moment where he's going through a 90-day process, right? I actually suggested to Ben about the salt, and he wants to find out how the results of this process before he adds another process to what he's doing. That's the reason Ben is that now, and Ben is not aware as much as we are about the salts. But I'll tell you one thing, as soon as he finishes these 90 days, he'll be the first one to start it.
Ben has actually said that he was waiting for Emily and I to actually see how we got on with it.
Okay. All right. Good.
He's not negative.
Okay. Yeah.
So, sorry, I will say this here. The route that Ben has taken, I would say that is a brilliant introduction for people to actually understand and start accepting SHB, because he's eliminating the things out of his body. Now, I do believe while he's eliminating these things out of his body, he still needs to detox at some level. And that's the reason he had a wee lull there a few days ago and this, that, and the other, because the toxins, he's not taking any more in, but the toxins that are all from what he's done before, that's why he's having these wee blimps and all. But
I understand that. I was watching him as well, Johnny, and he was early on was doing seawater and salt included in the thing, and then he stopped doing it, and I was like, oh, what's he doing? He's going to end up getting more toxic.
But I think what Ben's doing, I think that, but see if I go up to somebody in the street now and say to them about the salt, they'll look at you as if you're not right in the head. But if you go through the way they're doing, eliminating first, I think that's the way people will eliminate, and they'll not get any better, and then they'll understand. The salt is, do you understand? But it's hard to get people to accept or comprehend what we're doing with the salt.
Yeah.
He just hasn't looked at it in depth yet. He doesn't understand the details of how this works. And if Emily and I report back that we've done really well with it, I think he will.
Yeah, that's great in a sense, because I know Ben's got the ear of Dr. Chafee, and I think if any of the carnivore doctors are going to get it, it will be Dr. Chafee, because he's already quite a strict lion eater. So he's already eliminated pretty much every single plant. I've heard him even talk about purely not even drinking coffee. For him, just having one coffee, I've heard him retell a story where he was actually going full force in the gym, for like hours doing leg workouts, and he said he was just robust and had no pain at all. But he's pure lion eater, yeah. And then he said had one coffee 2 days later, and within 15 minutes of having the coffee, he said he was in pain, aches of muscle ache, where he hadn't had it for 2 days after a long workout, where he said most people would be in agony the amount of leg exercises he was doing, and then literally one coffee did it. So he's aware of how plant toxins are really toxic. So I think if any doctors are going to get it, he will get it as at the point where, but he may already be quite clean and not have the same profound experiences that people who are more toxic have when they start implementing salt. Yeah.
Can I also add? Can I just also add that I have a 15-year-old daughter who's an athlete at a national level, and before, well, she always had an injury, a little niggle, a little this, a little that, and she started the protocol with me. Not with me. She only started it there about 2 months ago. And from she started it, she hasn't had an ache or a pain. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Nice. And that may be another route through, is to actually get the younger people that are less indoctrinated to just start doing it, like you have with your daughter, Johnny. I know some of the one of the carnivore channels, there's a guy who's got stage 4 cancer, and he's got sons, and he's also a PE teacher in America somewhere that's got stage 4. I think it was stage 4. It was a stage 4 cancer, but I don't know which one it was specifically. But he's following Dr. Chafee's knowledge. But I think there's an aspect of carnivore knowledge that hasn't got the knowledge that Darko's got. In that sense.
Quite right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a slow tide. We've got to slowly get this information out there. Don't think that's even going to happen, because the planet's going to go completely tits up. This is the system's coming down, and
I hope so.
and then there will be lots of us with knowledge that will be able to try and help the people who suddenly need help.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Look,
doctors are in a bad situation, because as soon as people wake up, the first thing that will be blamed will be doctor for everything.
Yeah.
And nobody will.
Yeah, you can already see it happening, Darko. You can already see the politicians are starting to kind of like, well, we were told by all the doctors. Yeah. And they're ramping up for their scapegoats, which are going to be all the doctors. And it's like, not all of the doctors were doing it. You, the politicians, and your media blocked the doctors like Darko that were trying to tell the right information. Some of them have even been sort of like either killed or poisoned off. I think one of the doctors was heavily poisoned and ended up dying. I can't remember which one it was.
As soon as a doctor or anybody with knowledge comes along with a cure, or they're all bumped off. There's a list in Barry Sherman. The list goes on and on and on and on. But going back to what that other gentleman saying about the world's turning, and some people need educated when this is all over. I think I've been sick from 2004 on hindsight with Parkinson's and everything else, and really all it has been an education the whole way along. I mean, a total education, because the things that I've done myself, I don't. Mainstream medications remains a no-no, and the things that I've done with medical cannabis, clay, Darko salts but as I say, it's just been an education the whole way along. And anybody wants to know, I will tell them. Do you understand it? From things that I would say that I've done, and you say to the general public, I think you're need locked up in the asylum, because and again, it's just nature, absolutely just nature.
I think the thing is, John, it's about at the moment, it's about speaking our truth. It's about more and more people thinking we're nuts, because when it goes tits up, those are the people who are going to go, oh my God, they were right all along. And I'm not looking for I told you, they will come to us for the information because we always had it. It's just that they laughed at us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's but I tell you, it's been a great meeting a few years tonight. There have no use online and stuff like that, but it's great seeing faces and being able to put names to it. And but
yeah, it's
I
lovely
use
almost real life discussion, isn't it?
It's as close as we can get to meeting up in person, but you know,
I am conscious we've kept Darko for kind of 2.25 hours now, so I just want to gracefully allow you to leave. But really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.